If Vegeta ends up playing Tommy Wallamies, that could be a very interesting match because they both have very similar decks. Green blue.
It'd be green blue versus green blue, right?
Lots of Soratomis. So. I'm going to tell you quite, when I was looking at the decks during deck building, I really, really liked Johan Sadipor's deck.
Really?
He's blue-white. He had just a lot of great cards. He had a great curve. He had a couple of tricks. He had a Ghostly Prison to slow down things on the ground. He had plenty of stuff in the air.
Interesting.
Seemed like a really solid deck, and he's methodically been going through Larson. Right? He's up 2
He's
games.
Up 2-0, yeah.
He's up 2 games to nothing.
They've
It's
been
not a
slow
fast
games.
deck.
Right.
It's not a fast deck. It's blue-white. Blue-white can be very incremental. You know. Just
And there's the match. That's David Larson you're looking at on the left of your screen, and that's the back of Johan Sadipur.
Johan's a playtest partner of Anton Janssen.
Yeah, Johan Sadipur. It's funny, Anton Janssen scrubbed out on day one. Very surprising.
He's here in spirit. In this,
But yeah, not only he's got his playtest partner here, and you've got 4 Scandinavians. I mean, I got to think that Larson has somehow benefited from sort of the legacy of Anton Janssen.
Well, no, I talked to Larson.
The fine tradition of Swedish magic.
He's only seen these guys though at other tournaments. He's not in this.
No, he's not a friend, but
he's a PTQ player who played in I believe almost a half dozen, maybe more PTQs before finally winning one.
Okay,
playing his first Pro Tour.
That's cool. One of the things that makes you able to make that jump from PTQ to PT, though, is running into guys like Johan Sadipur and Anton Janssen and just testing your mettle against them, trying to beat them in tournaments.
They definitely know each other from the PTQ circuit. I mean, Johan has played on a PTQ or two.
Sure. Yeah, that's
this could
the
be
legacy of Anton Janssen, no question.
And this could be great for Anton. Also, if having another Swedish player.
If Johan wins, gets on the gravy train, all of a sudden the two of them can start traveling around the world.
Yeah, he's complained about not having the thriving Magic community that he once had around him. He's in a pretty isolated area.
Sadipur's looking pretty good in this match too. I'm looking at the board. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 creatures to his opponent's 3. One of them is Cage.
And he's got the Palliator.
But still. Oh, Sadipur's down on life. Larson's apparently 17 to 8.
He's got the free riders going. What is he returning? We haven't seen that yet, I guess.
Had been a lore master, now he's got a healer. So maybe Sadipur not in quite as good a shape.
And the War Weaver. He's taking 2 a turn here.
Johan's only flyer has been caged.
Let's take a look at Sadipur's deck and see what he... Ghostly Prison would be pretty interesting here. You've got Larson returning a guy every turn.
Not sure it's enough.
He's got... Just looking through... he's got 100 Talon Strike. He's got a Strider. Moonlit Strider would be...
Yeah, that'd be good.
But it would also kill the Indomitable Well.
What's the flyer that's under all that?
I believe it's a Lantern Commie with Indomitable Well.
Okay.
So he'd also lose the Will.
And it's not good enough to block the flyer then.
He's got 2 Moonwing Moths, which would actually be huge. Those guys are like Tower Drakes.
Yeah.
And he's got his own healer. Preventing 2 a turn now. He's at 4 though.
Those moths have apparently been the key to Sadipur's victories in the first 2 games.
I think a lot of people have them as the top common in white.
Of course, a lot of people also say, well, White Saviors doesn't have a first pick. That's why I don't like it anymore.
That's why it's the first pick.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Plow Through Raytow. I really like that card a lot. Yes, it's the outer calm inner strength.
Outer calm inner strength
to give him exactly
returning Cage of Hands. Wow, returning Cage of Hands to his hand gave him exactly enough cards to actually win the game right there. So, score 1 for David Larson. Cuts Johan Sadipur's lead in half, and we have seen a comeback. Sergio Fujita came all the way back from down 2-0. Maybe David Larson could do the same thing.
I think we're going to be going over to see Tommy Wallame's match.
Yes,
With
Wallame's
Auntie,
trails 2-1 against Auntie Malin.
it's actually, apparently it's Auntie Malin, but everyone just calls him Auntie.
Really?
Yes.
That's funny.
And he's pretty comfortable with that. It's more, Auntie's more of a nickname than the actual pronunciation.
Okay. Funny.
So this is going to be game 4. Tommy's up against elimination here.
So the fourth guy on my Hall of Fame ballot is Alan Comer.
Alan Comer.
Alan Comer. The thing is, the more I think about this Hall of Fame, the more I think there's probably a dozen guys that sort of belong in the Hall of Fame in my mind. So I'm casting my ballot really for who I think should be in the first class. And I think the first class is all about what do you want the Pro Tour to be like? What should the top level of Magic be? And I think Alan Comer scores really well on those counts. His sportsmanship is unquestioned. His integrity is unquestioned. He's the kind of guy that calls the judge over to call penalties on himself.
He has called the judge over to get penalties.
I've seen this happen multiple times. Judge, I messed up. I accidentally looked at another card. I should get at least a warning for this, maybe a game loss. And his opponents are just incredulous. But that's just the way he approaches the game. If he messes up, and he's sloppy, so he gave himself plenty of chances to mess up. But he plays just having a good time. I mean, he plays the game for fun. And
He plays the game very inventively, always.
that's the second point. So there's the sportsmanship and integrity point. But also, as a deck builder, he's absolutely, unquestionably the best deck builder in this class. He defined formats starting at Season 2. He'd come out with, like, Godzilla deck at Regionals. Turbo Xerox was totally invented by him. He
Miracle
has
Grow.
outside-the-box ideas starting way back in Season 1 and Season 2. But then you hit Season 7, and he's still coming out with Miracle Grow.
Miracle Grow
Totally out of left field.
still has a legacy today, that deck.
Absolutely.
It's still played in Type 1. It's played
Absolutely.
in Extended to some extent.
So he has defined multiple times over a period of most of the history of the game, he's built format-defining constructed decks. I don't know if there was a point where he was the best deck builder in the world. It's sort of like this weird unofficial title that at any given time you could point to somebody else
He and V kind of
who might have been better. But I mean, you throw a Lauer in there. Flores had a good stretch, I guess. But you know,
This has a pretty good stretch right now.
fair. But I mean, if you give him any credit for longevity, I think that Comer's legacy as a deck builder, he's definitely one of the top couple deck builders in the history of the game. You could make a case for him to be the best deck builder in the history of the game. Right?
Absolutely. And he also has contributions to the game. The man has been working diligently on Magic Online.
Yeah, I thought about the Magic Online thing.
More than a couple of people have mentioned that. When
I don't
talked
give
about
him a
it on
lot
the
of
ballot.
credit for that because it's a Pro Tour Hall of Fame. It's not a Magic Hall of Fame. It's a Pro Tour Hall of Fame. If we were going to go totally on contributions, then
we just bounced a raving Oni slave with Misplaced Shinobi. Tommy Wallame's just took
that will leave a mark.
Ante back down to 14.
Oh, Andy's got a shuriken to go with his Misplayed Shinobi.
Somewhere Patrick Sullivan is saying NSS. Nice slave, stupid. He's not been a big fan of it.
Not only was the slave painful, but Auntie Malin used the Cage of Hands to clear a path for it, too.
Well, the wall was
He
a real
red-spirited Elder Pine and caged the wall, and he's like, all of a sudden, he's got all this nice tempo, blows away the one creature, cages the wall, so he can just beat up Tommy with a 3/3. Wow.
If he wants to replay it, he's going to have to go down to 10. But instead, he plays Victoria Watford.
Huh. So, yeah, I think Alan Comer, arguably the best deck builder in the history of the game, tremendous sportsmanship and integrity. And as you look at it in terms of accomplishments and playing skill, he's fine. He's got 5 top 8s. He doesn't have a win. I mean, I'm a little surprised to wind up with someone in my ballot that doesn't have a win, but he does have the 5 top 8s. His play skill and his accomplishments are plenty good enough. You know what I mean? You look at median finish, by the way. He's actually like 5th, right?
So he played in 32 Pro Tours and finished his median finish is 49th.
It's pretty good.
Which is higher than Dave's, and Dave Humphreys is impressive.
Right.
I mean, 49. That's 16 Pro Tours.
Yeah,
his well into the top 60.
His accomplishments are very similar to Humphreys', in fact. Humphreys has a little more longevity, but Comer replaces that longevity with a legacy as a deck builder as arguably the best in the history of the game. That's totally something people should be giving credit for when it comes to the Hall of Fame.
And I think he's also he's a real role model for how people can approach the game and be competitive.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with Humphreys in terms of integrity or sportsmanship.
Right.
But I mean, he's sort of dry and fair and precise. But Comer's sort of
Comer's-
not just good enough, but the role model.
Comer